Hey, how you doing? This is another episode of DwayneRoss.com. Hi, my name is Dwayne Ross, and thank you for coming to this post. Now, of course, I've been talking about a lot of different things, and somebody left a comment, and they wanted to know, okay, what about that taxation thing? So before I really get all the way into that, I want to come back a little bit and just talk about the four things that actually stop up the whole money situation in the first place. All right. As you know, I talk about making sure that you, number one, only pay what you owe, only pay what you should, and then use the other money to kind of build your wealth. So in this video, I'm going to talk about four things or four characteristics of money that a lot of people get caught up in, and they don't really understand how it's really taken away from their wealth. And so I know this has happened to me over the course of my time in my life, my work life. And then one day I came across something that actually started to educate me. I don't know if you ever heard of Laurel Langmeyer, but she talked about if you are not making enough money, you have to find your fastest path to cash. What is something that you can do right now that can bring you in some income that you can use to kind of get rid of your debt and then start flipping it from debt to wealth? And so anyway, I have a section in my book that talks about how I went through a certain period of time, and I wanted to share something that helped me change my life, help change my life. Again, if you're interested in partnering with me, I ask you to send me something in the inbox, message me, inbox me, send me an email, put a post and say, hey, you know what, Dwayne, I like what you're doing, and I want to know more about being a part of it. So here it is. So what is actually taking away your money is inflation. All right. It's the silent income destroyer. It's like, think about a few years back. Well, I talk about my own home. I lived in Amityville, New York, and I grew up in Amityville. What's up, Amityville? And there was a time where I had to go help my aunt. I was in the military, I was in the Air Force, and there was some things going on, and she called me home and said, going through some challenges. And that day I got to sit down and see behind the veil, how much the house was worth and what was going on with the house and things of this nature. And that house was $29,000 back in 1984, right? $29,000. The same house, same bricks, same area, same street. And today, that exact same house on the market would be worth over $300,000. So someone buying that house in 1984 purchased it for less than $30,000, and here's someone today in 2014 getting ready to buy it at over $300,000. But the dollar was worth less than it is back then, right? So that's where it's happening, okay? So the value of things is going up. The greed and capital gain. People are looking for capital. A lot of corporations, it's like I got to please the investors. I can't look at the people that use my product. I got to go ahead and take this 2-cent product and charge $2.99 for it, right? So that the stockholders can make some money. And then, of course, you have the cost of goods and services. I remember as a kid, too, you can walk around and say, let me go cut some grass for like $4 or $5, $5 here, $5 there, and add it up, and you had $20 in your pocket a week. You was good. Now you got to actually ask for $25 just to cut that same grass, because if you go out and get some gas, the gas is $3, $4 a gallon. So you got to make your profit back, by taking care of what your expenses are. And that's why people should go into business. See, if you're in a business category, it's a whole different level, but we're going to talk about that when we talk about taxation. So it's faster right now. Growth in the inflation is it's faster than income. So here you are, you're saying, I'm making $15 an hour. I'm making $25 an hour. But in real terms, in real money, you're making $9 an hour, $7 an hour. And you're starting to figure out, why am I never getting ahead? Well, it's because of this and a couple of other brothers that come along with this. So you got taxation, right? Inflation. Then you got taxation taxes. So the gentleman was asking about taxation. So what it is, it's real simple. You work for the federal government. We all work for the federal government pretty much most of our days. Why? Well, because for the first 1/3 of the year, all we're doing is working to pay taxes. Think about this. You work all year long. Then you file your taxes and they give you a refund. Well, means they already had it and they're giving it back. So refund is they're funding you back. They funded you, now they're funding you again. So it's chained to your income. It's automatic. And that's what's so crazy too. Some people are like, well, I'm just waiting for my tax refund. I'm gonna get my refund check. It's all gonna be good, dog. And that's cool, but you're participating at the lowest level. All right, that's that W-2. I talked about this. The W-2, change the W-4, get all your deductions up front. Use your money the way you want to. Because, see, you don't have any power over franchise tax. They're going to take that. How about the gas tax? Because they're taxed all the time. How about property tax, right? Okay. You got a death tax right now. If you die, they tax you on that first. And some people are losing their legacy because of taxation on death. It's like, oh, grandpa died. Okay, the government comes in and says, excuse me, but we need to get some of that money too. And then it's in probate and all that's great. All right. And then sales tax. So we're taxed already. So here you are paying taxes all year, and then you have to pay taxes on top of taxes. So I'm not against paying taxes. Don't get me wrong. And like a lot of different people that are involved in helping to educate in this field, this area, we're all people who say, hey, pay your taxes because we got to still fix the roads and help people out and pay for people's children, who are having struggles in their family. We got to do all that cool stuff. Make sure they go to school and, school teachers are okay. But the reality is we shouldn't pay more than we should. I mean, if you saw in the paper, it wasn't too long ago, they were talking about Warren Buffett, right? Billionaire, right? But he paid only 4% taxes. 4%. But his secretary, and they use this all the time. The secretary, though, who's a regular W-2 employee, pays 30-something%. In some cases, over 32 to 33, 36. You could check it out. Do the math, okay? 1/3 of your income, automatic off the top. I mean, think about it. You go out, and if you go to church, you pay tithes, right? So they say you pay tithes off your gross, all right? Some people say, no, I got to do it off my net. I just can't afford it, right? But here's the deal. It's like give God his money first. So, okay, 10% goes to God. And that's out of $100. So now you got $90. Then the IRS says, before God, give me my money. And you got to pay them 1/3. So you're already paying them $30-something, $33. Then you pay your tithes. What you got left? You got like $46, right? $47. Okay, $47. So you're working from January to April for the government, for taxation. Let that sink in. That's how long you're working. Now, I have a couple of other spots down here that I'm going to catch you later on because I think this is really important for you. But again, I didn't want this to be very long. It's just our morning, reflection, morning minute, morning whatever you call it. Okay, it's our powwow. But I told you before, my name is Dwayne Ross from DwayneRoss.com. I'm looking for some people who want to get this message out to the world, all right? We want to have people understanding their finances so that they can live better in their latter years. The Bible even says that your latter shall be greater. That's why, I'm doing this, because this is like craziness to me, because I got to this place that we used to talk about when we was kids. Oh man, you could be 50, you could be old, man. But yeah, check it out. I'm 50, right? 51, and I don't feel like I'm old, but I feel like I've been hoodwinked. Okay, so I'm back, and I got one more thing to talk to you about. Hi, my name is Dwayne Ross, and I'm from DwayneRoss.com, and we're talking about the 4 thieves of personal wealth. Now, I left off in another video. I talked about J. Paul Getty saying that you could actually, he said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own effort. Now, I want you to think about this because Warren Buffett, who's one of the richest men in the world, he's been the richest man. I think right now Bill Gates is back to the top. I'm not sure. Carlos Slim, whoever, have to look and see what Forbes said today. But the reality is, okay, none of them gets their wealth from just one thing. None of them have one thing that divides their money or provides their wealth and their living. But let's talk about what happened with our family, okay? Because what I told you before is that we started a hair salon, right? So when my wife is out working, she's able to do her job, and it's just whatever income she gets, 100%, okay? But now she switches over to a business owner, things started changing because not only is it just her, but now she has more than one person responsible for her wealth. So this lady, Sally, she's coming in 2 or 3 times a month, and she's bringing in $100. Then you got this person over here who gets a weave and gets it all touched up at least once a month. She's bringing in $250. This person over here needs a color and a touch-up and a tint or whatever. They're bringing in $70. This person over here just need a light wash, a curl, and press, and that kind of stuff. She's bringing in $80. And this person over here used to do, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But now, all they want is just, touch up, $20. And this person over here wants a wig because they found out that they needed to repair or replace their hair because their hair fell out after chemotherapy, and they needed a wig made. So now that's $1,000, and this person $150. So she can go out and just work by herself, or create a network of people who bring in multiple streams of wealth for her. Okay, that's the same thing that happens in network marketing. A lot of people kind of shame about network marketing because they tried Amway back in the day, and they're like, yeah, well, I was an Amway distributor, my grandma was, or what have you. Well, you know what? Amway is still making money today, no matter what they say, right? Call it Quick Star, this and that, whatever. But the bottom line is the people who started it, their families are taken care of for generations, right? Okay, so maybe it was Mary Kay. Mary Kay said, you know what? I want to give away pink Cadillacs, right? So you got this person doing, personal hygiene and putting on makeup and things of this nature. So she created something where she showed a young lady back in the 40s and 50s that they can go and work for themselves, and they don't have to wait for their husbands who came from the war to take care of them. They can actually go out and do some different things. And over time, now you see a Mary Kay commercial on the Super Bowl, right? Now that's network marketing. But it's at a bigger level now because things have happened now where they've actually sustained themselves as a business, okay? So the first part is networking in one person to one person to one person to one person, but then it becomes part of the net worth. It starts growing net worth. And once it does that, it goes from this stage to where it sustains itself, and in the sustainability, it's now considered an actual business. So it's a numbers game. All right, you got people out there, who are looking for something. They're looking for a second job. They're looking for more money. They're looking for a little extra here and there to kind of pay off the bill or get out of the neighborhood or whatever it may be. And you now have the right or the ability to participate the same way that this works. So you can just go and get your paycheck and that's it. Or you can take a piece of your paycheck, invest it in a business where other people are involved. And now you have Sally over here who make $80. And let's say you get, 10% of that or 12%. But let's say 10% to make the numbers easy. So you got $8 coming in. You got Joe over here working. He's doing $70, so you get $7 from him. You got $250 going to Pam and Pam. Okay, so that's $25. Okay, and then you got Joe's brother Bernard. He's got $100 coming in, so that's $10. Then you got Ralph, who used to, be in the neighborhood and drive trucks and stuff, $150, so that's $15. And then you got your old friend Randolph, who lives all the way in California somewhere. That's $1,000 right there, so that's $100. Okay, and then you got little Susie, who you just met, who really don't want to do a lot, but just, she's doing a little something. And you get a little $2 from that person, okay? So, here you have all these people now working. Now, this is $100 for you if you just do it by yourself. $100. Remember, we're going to keep it simple. Yes, right? Keep it simple, sweetheart. So, but over here, we got 100, 102, 117, 127, right? 132. Then you got 7 more, so that's 39. And then you got 8, so that's what, 41, 39 and 8, right? That's 41. So you got $241. Excuse me, $141 working for you now. So would you rather have $141? And this comes from in the mail, and you wasn't there to do it. Okay? And if I mess up the math, don't hold me to it, because I take my time to really think it out, right? But $141 comes in, and now you're like, wait a minute, okay? And now you got me thinking, so I want to do this right. So you got 8 and 8 is 16, so you got $15 right there, right? And then you got $25, so you got 25, and then you got 10 and 5, so you got another 25 right there. And then you got the 2, okay? So that's 70, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 2, 4, 5, 57. So actually, I captured everybody, so it's 157. So let me fix that. All right, so $157 comes to you, and this is while you're sleeping. This is in your spare time. 157. Not while you're working, not while you're doing anything. It just comes in the mail because these people are doing whatever they do, and then somebody else gets involved and they do another $100 over here. So now you get another $10 right there, so 167. So you got $100 here with your effort, you got 167 with their effort. Which one would you choose? 99% of the population still chooses this. Number one, they know it's a guaranteed paycheck in most cases until you get laid off. I got a phone call just yesterday or the day before yesterday from someone, and they just got laid off. And they thought they had the bomb job, but unfortunately right now they're out looking for work, okay? That could happen to any of us. So I'm not belittling the situation. It's just this is what happens to us, and we have no control over it, okay? Now in this case, we have people out there doing stuff, and we get a percentage, just like Warren Buffett. So if this was Warren Buffett's first company, he made $70 or $7 million, right? If this is his second company, he had $250 million, so that's cool. If this is his other business, he's made $100 million. And as you can see, if you just take the one off of each one of those, now Warren Buffett is sitting at the house. He invested in these businesses. He started them up, or he bought them, or he accumulated them when he bought another business, okay? But the bottom line is he's making $1.6 billion from all these millions that are connected to this network of net worth. So, as you think about the personal wealth and you think about the thieves, I now want to start having you think about what are you going to do about it? Like, what is your plan of action? What can you do that you can put in place. Now, like Beyonce, right? She sings a song, she goes in the studio, she works real hard, she goes to the video place, she makes a video, wherever the location is, and then she says, whew, right? She makes like 60,000 songs at one time. I think the last thing she did like 66 songs or something phenomenal like that. But anyway, she did all these songs, and she had enough footage, enough background, enough information, she could make like 2 or 3 albums out of that, right? So she releases this one album, then she releases another album. Well, over time, she's getting a percentage of each one of those albums. She's not making all the money from the album. There's just a piece of it. It's called residual income. So if you don't know about residual income or you haven't participated in it, this is where it really starts getting really interesting and cool. Because now you can put something in place, and if you put it in place the right way, it starts building little by little. Remember the raindrops? Little trickle here, little trickle there. Next thing you know, you get a little rain. It's raining right now if you can hear it. Right? So now you have raindrops out there dropping dollars for you. So I want to ask you, are you interested in the numbers game? Do you think if you were given the right tools and the right information that you can create a network of people, and it don't have to be just your family and friends, it could be people outside your family and friends, because there's a lot of people in America, United States, who are looking for something. I just read a statistics yesterday on Forbes magazine, on their online magazine, and it talked about what do people consider the American dream right now. Well, people are considering the American dream being out of debt, because all the college students are coming out of college, a huge percentage of them, with debt before they ever start their job. And they know that the time is ticking, that once they start working, now they have to start paying off those student loans. And if they went to a very expensive college and they were at the top of the class, and it was kind of like they got in there and got out, but whatever, they didn't become like the Bill Gates of education out of that particular place, well, guess what? They're going to still have to pay that bill, right? If they didn't get any major scholarships to pay it off and things of that nature, they have this ticking sound going on. Because someday it's going to go bling, okay, pay me, pay me, pay me. All right? So, once you get the numbers in place and in favor for you, now it's considered your business. So, I hope this was helpful for you. Again, if you're interested, leave a comment, leave a like, of course, but tell me why you like it. This is Dwayne Ross of DwayneRoss.com. I want to also remind you that I'm now opening a YouTube video page, so you can actually see my YouTube page, and you can go and watch some of the other stuff that was told or that you heard about prior to today's message. And that way you can participate with me and, like it, comment it, share with it, and things of that nature. There is a new book that will be coming out on top of the fact that you can get No More Crumbs from the Table, which is my first book, No More Crumbs from the Table. I've actually written 3 books, but this is the one that I think is the most important because, first of all, it was the first one, 2004. Number 2, it came out of a workshop that I was doing all over California when I was teaching people that they should use their gift, talent, and abilities. And then I kind of put it on the shelf, or I could say God kind of allowed it to be on the shelf. And recently he said, you know what, you need to take what I gave you, the remnants of the gifts and talents and things that I gave you, and start using them and helping other people. And I was in a conversation with someone and they were saying, my life is like this, my life is like that. And I said, if you just use some of the principles that I teach in the book, you could probably change some things in your life. And they was like, what are you talking about? I said, just read the book, man. Just read this chapter right here. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Just take that word right there and ruminate on it. I have a story at the back of the book. It's from this lady, Lisa, who took my class. My name is Lisa, and I attended the Family Strength Conference in Sacramento. And she goes on to say how, she was inspired when she took my class. She said, I took everything I had. It took everything. It says, we had to write something in a bag. It was like a grocery bag that I had them do this exercise. And they had to put into the bag what it is that they had to offer. And what am I going to write? So she thought about her life. She closed her eyes and she wrote from her heart. But when I opened my eyes and saw what I wrote the word lawyer. And she became a lawyer as a result and an advocate for people with disabilities. And she said, it took everything I had not to jump and hug you right there. I had been afraid and have been scared that if I actually wanted to be a lawyer, I still had to pass the bar and step into the courtroom. Oh my Lord, before I had just finished school, graduated, and that was it. I realized sitting in that room that I was scared of failure. That's a lot of people. It was even me. I was afraid of my own success. Okay? I don't want you to be afraid of your success. Okay? You are success. You carry success in everything you do. Everything you put your hands to do prospers. That's a declaration you can put in your mouth. And if you say it over and over, it becomes part of your universe. What a man thinketh, so is he. Okay? As a man thinketh. And so she said, I attended another conference session on advocacy for disabled children. And bottom line, she goes on to say that she believes she was guided to that classroom because it helped shape her life. And now she's in preventive services for an organization, and she's changing and impacting lives of people. Well, that's what this is about, and that's what this is about. And if I can do what Zig Ziglar says, you help enough people get what they want, you will automatically be able to get what you want. All right, so part two, again, we talked about a lot of different things. How you doing? My name is Dwayne Ross from DwayneRoss.com, DWAYNEROSS.com. And I am the author of the book, No More Crumbs from the Table. You don't have to settle for the crumbs. You can actually start creating situations that's going to bring you to a different place financially. So I left you in talking about the cycle of the seed, because remember, you get your seed, right? And your seed is your income. In this video, we're going to continue to talk about the second part relating to the four thieves about your personal wealth when it comes to getting your paycheck and going around the board. Now, again, just to recap, you get seed, which is $200. That's your paycheck. And as I shared with you in previous videos, there's some people who already have your paycheck in mind, right? That's the government, right? The IRS, stores, different corporations, and in some cases, maybe you're dealing with child support. I know for me, that was a big situation for me for a while, all right? Because when you go through a divorce and the decision is made that you're going to still support your children, you now have to give some money toward that event. And, you know, you're providing to that household. You don't get a tax break for that. You get no tax break unless you have alimony. Alimony is tax deductible. Child support is not. So if you haven't gone through this process, I encourage you to talk to your CPA and your attorney about which one works best for your kids, and also which one kind of levels the playing field a little bit for you. But anyway, that's another video. So you get your money and you get your paycheck, $200, and you pass go. And I talked about if you get a situation where you get some kind of return on investment, you can get anywhere between 2 to 8%. But the current banking industry is giving you less than 1%. So that means you can put your money in a bank and let it sit there for years, and it's only accumulating 1% interest. So for every $100, you're getting how much? $1, right? So that's not a whole lot of money. So you want to do something where you're getting above 3%, because currently 3% is what the current rate was for last year's increase. If you looked at the cost of living, it went up about 3 to 5%, depending on where you were in the nation. And in some places it might be 7 or 8% because they have a real negative job numbers right now. They're in the double digits at, high, real high. If it's like places with people with disabilities, it's over 70% unemployment rate. So, but anyway, you're traveling through life, you're going around the board, and we talked about paying less taxes, not paying taxes, but pay less taxes, because there are certain things that allows you to pay less. Now, I can tell you how I got myself in trouble. The biggest thing I did not have was a system to keep track of what I was doing. And even in this last 2 years, I had to reevaluate what I actually did, because if you remember in another video, I also told you, don't take the deductions for the whole year. You can do it for like 6 months. Talk to your CPA or your accountant, and they'll tell you the number that you need to reach so that you don't go to the point where now you owe a lot of taxes. Because I actually did owe, and I want to make that disclosure because I did not pay attention to those timelines like I thought I should, or like I knew I should. So I had to suffer the consequences. Okay? So anyway, you go through and you save on your taxes and you pay off your debt. So what I said is, over here you got $200 and you said, okay, I saved $200. So now I can take that money that I made and I can pay off debt. Now again, if you put it in the bank, you're only going to get a short amount of percentage. So you're in this rat race. Remember we talked about the rat race? So today, another thing that you want to look at is paying down your debt. So again, let's say that you have something that, like for me, I have a vehicle, right? So it's like, okay, if I owe $9,000 on that vehicle and I was already paying over here, but I saved $200, I don't eat that seed. I take that and put it with my other piece, and now I attack this debt. Okay? I attack the debt. And when I say attack it, it's mean like coming with a process where you still live your life. You still go out. I'm not the one, again, I got taught by Laurel Langmeyer. I'm not going to think that, you want to shrink your life. I want to see what is it that you have, gift, talent, and ability that you can use to create more money, or short term, where you can actually bring in more income or create cash flow. So the first thing we want to do is create that cash flow from what you already have coming in. So you already have stuff that you're paying. Well, what thing can you pay off? Instead of spreading out the payment to everybody, you can pay the minimum amount to everybody except for one, and you take it and pay it off. And then you do the same thing. You pay a minimum, and then you take that amount that you saved and you attack another debt, and so on. It's called the snowball effect, right? If you start rolling down the hill with a snowball, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So now you have a larger amount, so you can now attack a larger debt. And so that's really cool. Again, that's the spending plan I gave you, that if you could message me or inbox me or whatever, you can get that for free, right? So now you have this system, and you're using the cycle now to build your seed, to bring more, because inside your seed, as you learned in a lot of different places, but I learned in church, inside your seed is your harvest, right? I mean, just think about it, horticulture. If you go and you say, okay, I want a apple orchard, okay, not only do I have to plant, but I have to wait. And then once that seed comes up, now I have apples all over. I take the apples, I take the seeds from it, I go through the process of now getting that seed prepared, and I get that into the ground, and now I have more and more and more apple trees, and next thing I know, I have an orchard. It's the same process. You're going to do that with your financial situation. So, if you remember in the game, you have places where certain things will happen in your life, and maybe you can get something from it. For me, I found out that I had a bank account that was closed a long time ago, but it had maybe like $35, $40. I don't know if that ever happened to you, but it just sat there and sat there and sat there. Well, it accumulated to $250. Well, actually a little bit less than that, $246, right? And I saw my name on this blotter for New York City, so I said, well, let me see. I saw somebody else's name, and I said, I wonder if my name is in there. So I checked it, and I actually did have money sitting in there. And I had to just send them proof that I used to live in New York. And when they saw that, they sent me the $238, I think it was. I can't remember the exact amount. I have to look it up. But it was another piece of money that came in that I wasn't going out and working for. Okay, so that's the goal, that you have stuff come in, cash flow, and also money coming from other sources. So I'm going around the board, and I find out that I can maybe get this money from over here, and now that's a cool thing. The other thing is, maybe you own a home, or you don't own a home, but you own something that you can rent out and create cash from it. Okay? Maybe you like planting plants. So can you turn that into something? Maybe you're a graphic person. You really like messing around on a computer. Can you turn that into something? There's a website that's called Fiverr, right? And people do work for $5, almost anything, for $5. So imagine if you had your skill out there and people were, contacting you to get that done. So now you've got to trickle. You got to trickle. Little raindrops. Just a little bit of rain. Nothing to write home to mama about. But it's enough to now pay off these debts. And that's where I'm at right now. I created an opportunity for me to take something like a book, and I said, well, if I had this book, this is just sitting around waiting for people to buy it. It sits on a shelf, or it sits in a place electronically for someone to purchase it. Why don't I start really teaching what's in the book? Why don't I start teaching about using your gift, talent, and ability to improve your finances? And if I could do that, maybe there's something that might pop out that's like exciting for me, just like it's going to be exciting for you, and then you could turn that into your cash flow piece, right? So now you have this cycle working for you instead of against you. Because remember, you still have inflation, which isn't going anywhere, right? And you got to watch out for that. You still have taxation, which again, not going anywhere. Okay, you're getting taxed. That's not, you can't see that right there. So here's taxation, right? There's inflation. It's happening, whether you like it or not. You got your debt. You're working on that, right? Getting the debts down. And now you have to talk about this corporate spending. Okay? Can you buy stuff on a discount? Can you buy stuff in bulk? Can you participate in something where more than one person might participate? Which is really cool, because we're members of BJ's, right? Now, this is not an endorsement for BJ's, but it's just talking about the process. So you become a member of this organization, and because you are a member, right, you have benefits, you have access. Everybody can't go shop in BJ's, Costco, Sam's Club, those places, because everyone's not a member. But if you want the discount, you become a member, and now you get access to better deals, or you might get access to deals that other people just can't get. Like, let's say you want to go on a cruise, okay? If you wanted to go on a cruise right now, you're probably going to spend anywhere between $375, $400. You might see a little sign that says $299, but read the fine print. But if you are a member of a club, they can probably get that same level, and everyone who participates can probably buy it for less than $129. In some cases, $69. Imagine that, right? But it's because a group of people decided to participate, and they gave it a group rate. And because they give a group rate, now you can take advantage of that. So you got to look at corporate spending. Can you and your friends or your cousins and everyone decide, you know what, we got to get cereal. We're all going to get boxes of cereal that's $5 a box, right? Why don't we get together and one of us get the card and go in and buy a whole group of cereal. You know, you put your little cereal, whatever it is you want, and you go and you participate that way. Okay? That's taking advantage of corporate spending, but on the other side. Now, you can do Groupons, right? Coupons, cutting the newspaper, but you got to be real diligent about that, because you got to watch out for that other thing that steals your time and energy. And that's like you driving over here and driving over there and driving over there to save $2. Well, you don't want to do it that way. You want to see if you can do it in a bulk way where you can actually save money in a group way. So anyway, you want your seed to grow, you have to put it in the ground. And if you eat your seed every week, it's good. Going out buying, remember those $300 or $250 tennis shoes, $300 tennis shoes. If you're doing that, then you're in a situation where you probably could benefit more if you created something that created cash flow and then brought the money to you. So again, I hope this was helpful for you. It was a little slower than I'm used to because I really want you to hear certain words and understand certain things. You can turn your whole financial picture around by identifying the 4 thieves of personal wealth and then having a system in place that will help you dismantle everything that they do that you could participate in better. Now, remember I talked to you about giving your tithes, right? You give your tithes to the church, 10% to God. Now, that's a internal decision that you make, and you say, I'm paying my tithes unto the Lord. All right. Well, now you have $90 left over. Remember the $100 example? And then you know that these people already taking money from off the top, especially IRS and FICA and all this kind of stuff, right? So you know that that's already happening against you. Inflation is against you. Okay? So you got to look at what do you control the most of. And you can take your money and now effectively help somebody else. And when you help somebody else, in essence, you're helping yourself. And I heard it said this way, help somebody help yourself. All right? And the last thing I want to talk about before we, end today is that I have mentioned on a couple of occasions that I'm looking for partnership. I'm looking for people who want to help get this message out. Now, it's way bigger than this, and it's definitely something that you got to take your time and learn the grassroots. This is just like an overview, okay? Because I'm looking to connect with you so that you and I can start working together. We don't even have to be in the same city or state or country. All you have to do is message me, and then we can meet in a Fuse meeting or a go-to meeting online first, a Google Hangout and that type of thing. And then from there, we can start developing your plan. Once we develop your plan, then we can talk about setting up an actual presentation so I can come out and do a live presentation with you, your church, your organization, or whatever it may be. Okay? Even if it's just a couple of people, I'm very interested, depending on what region you are. I'm right now in the eastern region, so anywhere between New York and Florida, I'm pretty much able to, make that decision and get there quicker and get on back and still continue doing the things I need to do in my life. But I'm looking for you to let me know. So again, I said, don't just like it. If you like it and it's being helpful to you, cool. But what's better than that for me is a comment. Okay, so like it and then comment on why you like it. And that will help expand. My name is Dwayne Ross, author of the book, No More. Hey, welcome back. This is another episode of DwayneRoss.com, 4 Thieves of Personal Wealth. So as you see in front of you is the form W4. If you don't have your form, then you're going to need to go back to irs.gov and go ahead and get your form filled out. And then let's talk about what I told you I would do a couple of days ago. I said that I would come back and share with you how to give yourself a raise, and we'll talk specifically about this particular stuff that you may have seen, and I'm not sure how much you are aware of, but I just want to make sure you have all the information. Now, pardon me, I'm trying to just get this in the right position here so that you can see what you need to see in reference to that board. And I had it set up to where you can actually see the bottom right there. All right, so welcome to my studio, my little area that I utilize right now for giving you information. How you doing? Dwayne Ross from DwayneRoss.com. Hope everything's going well with you and your family. Again, DwayneRoss.com, DWAYNEROSS. And in this episode, again, I just want to remind you I'm the author of the book, No More Crumbs from the Table. Hope that you reach out and get that book. It's in an update right now, so there'll be some added information for those that get the most recent. That's gone through a couple revisions. But anyway, let's talk about these thieves. One of them, again, we talked about was taxation. And, the lack of knowledge. A lot of people struggle because they just don't understand how it all works. So hopefully this will impact you in a positive way and show you how you can take advantage of this form. Now, a lot of people can print this form out, again, at irs.gov. I told you earlier, I'm not going to give you any information that you can't go back and verify. This is not my thoughts. It's not just my thinking. It's actually information that I believe can impact your life, right? So, let's talk about this. The purpose of the form. Right here on the form, it tells you that the purpose is so that your employer will withhold the correct amount of taxes. It's specifically telling you that it's just so they can withhold the right amount. But some people, the right amount could change because during the year you might have a situation, right? So it also tells you that you should fill this form out annually, and if you have a change in your financial situation for your family. So it actually tells you to be aware of this change and make an adjustment. So it also tells you here about exemptions, and in this section of the form you can see that it'll say if you're 65 and older, you get exemptions if you're this and that, and then it quietly tells you right here that you actually can adjust it or have itemized deductions. We're going to talk about how you get that, because see, most people are easy form people. They've been filling out their taxes, doing the easy form, fill it out, blam, 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 turn it in, blam, work, blam, wait for their, beautiful check that comes every year after tax season, right? So they're used to taking the standard deduction. Standard deduction for this year actually is up to $3,900 per item. So if you got 4 checks over there, you just take this number times 4. You pretty much know about how much deductions you can have, per person. So here's the deal. That number could be a very small number when you think about it, because after you get all of the things done, you find out that all you get is maybe $6,000-$7,000, right? But what if your expenses was way above that? See, business people think a little bit different. Because see, in the business world, remember I told you the W-2 world, you pay taxes in advance, right off the top, off your gross, and you get what's left over. Well, in a business, if you step on the other side of that equation, you have your expenses, you have your living, then you have what's left over, and then you pay your taxes on that. That's why it's so interesting that somebody could pay 4% tax. Somebody else could pay 10% tax as a business owner. But then the regular struggling working single parent is out there paying, 30-something%. And a lot of single parents don't understand how that works because they're living with their boyfriend, girlfriend. They're not really qualified married. And one of them should be the head of the household. And they're not taking advantage of this form either. So it gives you some real specific steps. Or they'll talk to each other and say, well, I'll take a deduction for Sally and you don't. And so through the year, one of them is getting way less than what they should, and the other one is doing, the basics of most people do. When both of them should be taking a deduction for Sally, because it's only based on the allowances that they have for the year before they actually file. Filing is totally different. And so, again, here's a disclaimer. I'm not an IRS agent. I don't claim to be. I don't work for the IRS. What I am is a trainer and speaker and author. And I actually have dealt with an issue with the IRS when I lost my business after I went through a lot with my divorce and lost just about everything, including myself, and had to rebuild my life. And in doing so, I had to really get out there and find out better ways that I could participate in the American dream and actually, possibly keep some more money in my pocket. Because, I don't know about you, but it was difficult living at 45% of my income because 55 was taken right off the top. The IRS took theirs, child support took theirs, FICA and all those other people. And by the end of the day, I had 45% left over. And then you're still talking about buying a car and paying on, your living and where you live and all that kind of stuff. And I chose not to live in certain places, so therefore I paid a little bit more, right? But I had a little bit less in my pocket. It's so interesting because people thought I was like balling when I was just trying to restart and get myself back together. But anyway, here's the deal. Correct amount. See, if you're on one side, W-2, taking your standard, you're good. But what's going to happen is, what about all this other stuff you do through the day? See, this form allows you to set yourself up where now, instead of getting, say, 4 deductions, you might have 6 or 7 or 8. It all depends on when you do the math. A lot of people don't flip the form over. This is the second side of the form. And if you downloaded the form, you can look at it. And it tells you on here about how to go about, the math. And most people say, I don't like math. I don't like math. So they won't do it. But when you do it, you'll find out, wait a minute, I get 1, 2, I got 3 more deductions over here that I can put on line H. So instead of having 3 here, I might have 3 here. By the time I finish, I got 6. Right? So you got to look at that. And then if you're in a double household where you have second earner and, you have second income or second job, you want to use this chart and use the information here. And you might find you have 2, 3, 1, 2, whatever it is. You're adding it to what you have. And next thing you know, you got 5, 6, 7. Okay? Now, of course, you can go with 0 and 1 and say, I want them to take all my money. Let them take it and have an interest-free loan on your behalf. You can do that, right? But the reality is you shouldn't. Because if you do that all your life, you're going to wind up one day getting to a point where you go, wow, I don't even have nothing to really show for this. Because you haven't taken any of it to invest. You haven't taken it to pay off your bills, get debt-free, and live debt-free and things of that nature and use cash, right? And of course, we all know that if cash disappears, it's going to change the whole landscape. But right now, it's still there. All right, so you got the standard deduction. But here are some of the things that you could think about, that this form helps you out. Number 1, okay, what if I'm driving my car? So I get off work. Well, actually, I wake up early and I decide I'm going to go to the gym. And I roll over to the gym. And while I'm in the gym, I'm on a treadmill. And I'm working out or whatever. And I see Joe. Right? And me and Joe have a quick conversation. And I say, yeah, And he's like, yeah, my job sucks. This and this and that. I need to make more money. I think about getting a second job. And you say to him, well, I'm part of the extra digit movement where I'm helping people understand their finances by taking care of 3 things. Understanding, first of all, taxation. Understand how to get out of debt, and then taking the money that they save from taxation and debt and actually put it into some kind of financial success principles so that they can invest and have more money at the end of their life instead of, wondering what they're going to do when they get to retirement. Because right now, if you study, you'll find out there's thousands of people right now that can't retire who are over 65. You don't want to get to 60 and still don't have this together. So, he says, fine, cool, dandy. So you finish in the gym, you roll over and get you some breakfast. Now you get to work, get home, you shower up, get ready, go back to work. You go to work, and while you're in the hallway, you run into, Sally, and Sally's like telling you the story about the weekend, blah, blah, blah. And you find out that her boyfriend just lost his job, and she don't know what she's going to do. Well, that was an event. And if she didn't know about this, the first thing she could do is actually go into that HR department, get this form, fill it out, flip it over, look at the situation and say, hey, she might be in a position to have a raise right now. So that on her next paycheck, these deductions and things come into play. And now she has a little bit of money coming in to help since he lost his job. Okay? And then let's say that, you also tell her the same thing you told Joe. And she says, yeah, I'm interested. He said, well, good. I'm having a little workshop. It's free. All you got to do is show up. And, I can show you how to participate in this. And she says, okay. And she decides that at that moment, understand that this could be a business transaction. So now you ride home and you park in your driveway. Well, guess what? All the mileage from the time you left to the time you came back, because you were doing business or you were pursuing a profit in a business structure, allows you to do itemized deductions. And when you do itemized deductions, now your car, part of your car note goes into that. Part of your clothing, because maybe you put some clothes in the dry cleaning, all right? Or you had to buy a certain thing. Cell phone, right? Part of your cell phone. Traveling. Maybe you had to travel out of the area, go on a nice vacation, but while you were there, you talked to 2 or 3 people, and you held a meeting or so. You had to do something business, of course. There's some strategies for that. Meals, okay? Talk about that. Not the whole meal, but a percentage of it. Entertainment, things like that. Maybe you want to go to a football game, and you're like, man, that's gonna be $2,000. Well, cool, because $2,000, you taking your client, y'all have a good time, but you talking about business. You come on back home, now that's a tax deduction, right? A business expense. Internet, percentage of meals, training and education. Maybe you had some software you had to purchase. Maybe you had, some kind of class you had to take. Okay, all that stuff is possible deductions. Okay, and then again, you get your startup costs because, of course, you had to get going and get up and rolling and learn how to have your different things. Like, did you have a cell phone? Did you have a camera? Did you have this? You have that? All this kind of stuff. Whiteboard, magnets, all this stuff, dry eraser. All that stuff is tax deductible, right? Because it's a business expense for you to educate people and do business. And see, I'm a trainer, so a couple of years ago, I was just doing this stuff for free and not really even thinking about switching it over to the business side. And someone said, well, that's something that you could be doing, even though you do it for free. There's a way for you to recoup some of that money, but you don't have to be like, it's like a for-profit, but I'm a low-level for-profit because, again, I'm protecting my income, again, from going back and forth to court, child support and all that stuff. I have to be very careful about what I do and how I do it. So now I know. I didn't know that before, but I've been educated. And then associated costs, maybe there's some specialized equipment. Maybe there's something that I have to do. Maybe it's getting these t-shirts printed out. I'm not sure. Whatever it is. Maybe somebody doing some work on my website or consulting. I might have to sit with a consultant, I actually did sit with a consultant. I was telling him, hey, I found this company, and I said, I need a coach for myself. Even though I'm coaching others on, human services, I still need one to keep me on track and help me. And last year, I took on, a couple of sessions with a coach that said, hey, here's some things that you're not doing, but if you did, it would generate and help you improve. So anyway, this was step 1, step 2. I can't remember what step we're in right now. Actually, it was step 1 of 4 when I said that I would come back to you and break this whole W-4 thing down. So I have a lot more to go over. We're going to talk about what's on the top of this form. One other thing I want to invite you to understand is right here. It says, tear off this right here for your record. Give the employer this bottom 4 or the bottom half. Okay? Most people give them the whole form. They don't even know their worksheet. They don't know none of this stuff. They have to go to their office and look at it, right? And a lot of companies only give you one side. They don't even give you the back side. They give you this side right here. You fill it out, turn it in, go about your business. But I invite you, I implore you, if you haven't done it in the last year or 2, go check your form out. Look at what's going on in your family. Do you have a grandson, somebody you're responsible for is now living with you, that kind of stuff. Check it out and look at your deductions. It tells you what to enter, what to subtract, what to add, what to divide, all that kind of stuff. And if you wanted to know what the actual deduction sheets are, there's actually one at the irs.gov. Again, you just put in standard deduction. They even have a little test that you can take where it'll ask you some questions and it'll tell you what your standard deduction that you qualify for. If you qualify for head of household, it's $8,900 a year. Oh, that sounds like a lot of money. But when you talk about child care expenses and all these other expenses and things of that nature, if you can find a way to get your expense column under the itemized deductions and have it related to what you do as far as business is concerned, you have a good possibility of saving more money. So anyway, this is Dwayne Ross from DwayneRoss.com. Again, I want to invite you to leave a comment. Every post, I invite you to like it and leave a comment, because liking it does really well for me, but comments help me, kind of structure what else I'm going to talk about. I want to say what's